Hello, I hope your day is going well. Lately, it's been sort of the trend to go ahead and post your picture from your senior year and then put along with whatever year you graduate from high school. And I haven't done that yet, but it made me think back to those high school days. And the first thought was I was really lucky. I had the benefit of friendships from all different parts of our high school world. And that was a great thing and something I appreciate. I also have to admit that I was a bit envious of those folks who were really popular, and those folks, especially when it came to dating relationships, who were so in demand, if you will, that they played hard to get. And looking back, I think I am one who didn't play hard to get, but I think I played hard to want. And I know as you take a little closer look at my special quarantine version of my hair, it's hard to believe that somehow the ladies could resist this day after day and year after year, but they did, and they seem to do so quite easily. I think of in our relationships, whether it's a dating relationship, friendships, whether it's relationships with our families or in our community or folks who we don't see eye to eye with, whatever it might be. If there was ever a time where the bloom was on the rose, that time some point comes to an end. And as we deal with each other, we come to a spot where we don't see the most polished version of each other. And with that, we have feelings that not only are people hard to want, but they can be really hard to like. And so with that, I think of Paul in his letter to the Colossians in the 3rd chapter says, bear with one another. And that might not seem all that earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but it's huge, and it's huge for our life together. I think especially right now, hearing those words, bear with one another. Right now, for many of us, we are not the best version of ourselves. Our patience is not high. And with all those things that are going on, there's so many stresses. I have the benefit of I get to go in often to my church building office, which is cool. A lot of folks don't get out of their homes hardly at all. I also think of the stresses and anxieties of people worried about making a living, worried about keeping a business afloat, right? These are real concerns. There's also all those real health concerns. I know some folks now who've died from the coronavirus. You probably do as well. And other folks with those kind of health concerns, all those things that are going on. With it also means, because we're human beings, our thoughts and attitudes on what we think is the right steps or the wrong steps or what have you are all over the place. We don't agree with each other. With that, Paul says, bear with each other. And his hope back then, which is I think this is so important for us now, Paul's hope was saying, you and I, as we've been baptized into Christ, we are united with Christ in his death and resurrection, that in our relationships, not just with the people in our family, not just with people that we agree with, but in all kinds of relationships, the hope is that Jesus' peace and forgiveness shows up in how we treat people. Let's give each other a good measure of grace, because to bear with each other is so important. When we can do that, then we can be creative and we can be collaborative and work together well despite our differences. When we bear with one another, we can also maintain our friendships and our relationships instead of having them either become scarred or come to an end because of something we said or something we did that down the road we'll look back and regret. So with that, I invite you, for one, give yourself a good measure of grace, and knowing that right now is a time where we are not maybe seeing the best version of ourselves. So especially now, let's hear Paul's words to guide us, to encourage each other, to be patient with each other. Let us bear with each other. God loves you. Let's have that love show up in how we treat each other today. Take care.